reefs are an integral asset to humanity. They provide us with fish to eat and trade, protect coastal cities from the impacts caused by waves, and fund the tourism industry. Furthermore, coral reefs are providing scientists with many new medical discoveries, such as cures and treatments to deadly diseases, viruses, arthritis, and even some cancers. We rely on reefs for so much, but sadly they're disappearing at an alarming rate. A report by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration states that 14% of reefs were lost between 2008 and 2019. There are many contributing factors that have resulted in this loss, but the dominating issue is climate change. In this video, we'll be exploring how climate change is affecting our coral reefs. Corals first occurred in the Cambrian era over 500 million years ago and soon began to develop into gigantic structures called reefs. The largest living reef is the Great Barrier Reef, located in Australia, and it covers 133,000 square miles. That's larger than the UK. Reefs provide amazing habitats that facilitate ocean life and are teeming with biodiversity. Although coral might look like a plant, it is actually an animal. In fact, corals are formed of hundreds and sometimes thousands of tiny animals known as polyps. Polyps absorb oxygen, releasing carbon dioxide in return. This is much like how we breathe. However, the carbon dioxide released by the polyps binds with the calcium in the ocean. This forms calcium carbonate. This calcium carbonate then forms a hardy exoskeleton structure underneath the polyps. This process creates the giant structures we recognize as coral reefs. However, when water temperatures rise to a certain level, the polyps within die, leaving a colourless collection of empty coral skeletons behind, a ghost town in comparison to the once vibrant reefs that stood in their place. This is known as coral bleaching, and it is perhaps the worst consequence of climate change that is taking effect on our coral reefs. Essentially, rising sea temperatures are cooking our coral reefs, and at a rapid pace. The bleaching that has occurred at the Great Barrier Reef is an example of the seriousness of the situation. We have recorded 5 mass bleaching events in the Great Barrier Reef. 3 of these have happened in the last 5 years, which suggests an increase in the frequency of coral bleaching events. To put things into perspective, mass bleaching events cause 10 times the damage than that of a Category 5 storm. That is destruction on an unprecedented scale. So far, we have recorded bleaching across the Pacific Ocean, the Indian Ocean, and the Red Sea, but estimations suggest that we can expect to see bleaching in many more areas to come. And bleaching isn't the only problem caused by global warming. An abundance of carbon dioxide in the ocean has caused an effect known as acidification. Carbon dioxide is broken down to release hydrogen ions that cause the pH of the ocean to increase and starve corals of chemical resources, making it even harder for corals to reproduce, grow, and recover from short-term bleaching events. It is estimated that 90% of the world's coral reefs will be severely threatened by 2030, but a global effort could save our beautiful reefs from destruction. The most direct way to prevent bleaching and acidification is to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. We can do this by switching to renewable energy sources and cutting down on the use of fossil fuels, such as coal, gas, and oil. By making everyday changes to our individual lives and pushing our governments to reduce their carbon footprint, we may be able to save our coral reefs from destruction.